In the heart of ancient Vietnam, where the mist rolls over the Red River Delta, two women rose against one of the most powerful empires the world had ever known. Their names were Trung Trac and Trung Nhi, two sisters who defied the mighty Han Dynasty of China nearly 2,000 years ago. They were not queens born into luxury. They were warriors, daughters of a noble family bound by courage, justice, and love for their land. In a time when their people were enslaved, their culture suppressed, and their husbands slain, the Trung sisters did what no one dared to do. They united an entire nation under one banner, the banner of freedom. Who were these women? How did they raise an army of thousands and build the first independent Vietnamese kingdom in history? And what legacy did they leave behind, one that still burns brightly in the hearts of millions today? This is the story of the Trung Sisters of Vietnam, the warrior heroines who stood against a cruel empire. 1.5 Historical background: Vietnam under Hai Han occupation. Ba Trung. Nearly 2,000 years ago, Vietnam was under the heavy rule of the Han Dynasty of China. The Vietnamese people, known then as the Lac Viet, had lost their freedom. Han officials governed with cruelty and greed. They imposed crushing taxes, seized farmlands, and humiliated local leaders. Those who dared to resist were imprisoned, tortured, or executed. The Chinese rulers also tried to erase the Vietnamese way of life. They forced their language, their customs, and their laws upon the people, even forbidding the ancient traditions that had defined Vietnamese identity for centuries. But amid this oppression, one province still burned with quiet defiance. Mei Lin, a land ruled by a local noble family, the family of Trung Trac and Trung Nhi. Their father was a respected military official who taught his daughters not only the art of war, but also the duty of honor, courage, and resistance. From their mother, they learned martial arts and strategy, training with swords, spears, and bows long before most women were even allowed to speak in council. As the sisters grew older, they witnessed the suffering of their people. They saw villages burned, women enslaved, and men forced into labor for the foreign empire. And soon, the cruelty would strike their family directly, igniting the flame of rebellion that would change Vietnam forever. Ruan Thuab, the spark of rebellion, the death of Trung, Trac's husband, and the call to arms. Ba Trung Trac, the elder of the two sisters, was married to T. Sach, a nobleman known for his integrity and love for his homeland. Together they shared the same dream, to see Vietnam free from the chains of the Han Empire. But that dream soon drew the wrath of the Chinese governor, Su Ding, a man infamous for his brutality. When he learned that T. Sach was secretly supporting a growing movement of resistance, he made an example of him. The Sach was arrested, tortured, and executed without trial. His death was not only a tragedy for Trung Trac, it was an insult to the entire Vietnamese people. Yet, in the midst of her sorrow, Trung Trac did not bow her head. Her tears became fire. Standing beside her sister, Trung Nhi, she vowed that the blood of her husband would not be spilled in vain. She raised her voice before the people of Mei Lin and declared, "We cannot bear the humiliation any longer. Our husbands have been slain, our people oppressed, our homeland trampled by foreign boots. It is time for us, the daughters of Vietnam, to rise." Her courage ignited the hearts of thousands. Men, women, and even former soldiers of the Han Army came forward to join the cause. The Trung Sisters, Hai Bà Trưng, became the soul of the rebellion. They gathered warriors, trained them in secret, and forged alliances with local leaders across the land. The drums of freedom began to echo through the valleys of northern Vietnam. 1-5. A storm was coming, a storm that would shake the foundations of Chinese power in the east. 1.5 The rebellion, victory and liberation of Vietnam, where 1.5 the year was 40 A.D. From the land of Mei Lin, a thunder of rebellion rose. Thousands of men and women, inspired by the courage of the Trung Sisters, took up arms against the mighty Han Empire. 1.5 The sisters rode at the front, their armor gleaming, their hair flowing like black fire in the wind. Each strike of their sword carried the fury of a nation long oppressed. Trung Trac commanded with calm precision, while Trung Nhi charged with unmatched ferocity. Together, they became symbols of unyielding strength, two women leading an army of patriots against one of the greatest powers of the ancient world. Dukkha 1-5 The rebellion spread like wildfire. From village to village, the people rose. The Chinese garrisons, once feared, fell one after another. Within months, 65 citadels of the Han Empire had fallen. The invaders fled in panic as the Vietnamese banners waved proudly once again over the land. Ba 1.5 For the first time in over a century, Vietnam stood free, and at its heart were two sisters, Trung Trac and Trung Nhi, riding side by side on war elephants, their people cheering their names as saviors of the nation. Long live the Trung Sisters! Long live our freedom! Their victory was not just a triumph of arms. It was a triumph of spirit, a declaration that even the most powerful empire could not crush the will of a united people. Duer 1-5 For 3 glorious years, the Trung Sisters ruled an independent Vietnam. They restored justice, reopened temples, and brought peace to a land scarred by occupation. The people hailed them not as queens, but as mothers of the nation. 1-5 The fall of the sisters and their eternal legacy. 1.5 But freedom, like a fragile flame, must be protected. And the Han Empire, humiliated by defeat, would not remain silent for long. In 43 A.D., the Chinese emperor sent General Ma Yuan, one of the most powerful military leaders of the time, to crush the rebellion once and for all. The Trung Sisters, brave as ever, refused to flee. They gathered their loyal warriors and prepared to defend their homeland once more. But the enemy was vast, hundreds of thousands strong, and armed with advanced weapons. Despite their courage, the Vietnamese forces were overwhelmed. The battle raged for days until the rivers ran red with the blood of heroes. Facing inevitable defeat, the Trung Sisters made their final, heartbreaking choice. Rather than be captured, they rode their elephants into the hot river, choosing death over dishonor, freedom over submission. 1.5 Their sacrifice became a sacred legend. For centuries, every Vietnamese child has learned their names, Trung Trac and Trung Nhi, symbols of courage, loyalty, and unbreakable love for their country. Temples were built to honor them. Festivals celebrate their bravery every year. And in the hearts of millions, their spirits still rise, reminding Vietnam and the world that true freedom demands both strength and sacrifice. Go 1-5 They may have fallen, but their courage will live forever. The Trung Sisters, the first queens of Vietnam, the eternal guardians of its soul,